Hi there, I am Adem Kirbas. I'm here in Ordu in Turkey. We are still in the pandemic. I read the news. This looks indeed dire. The cases of COVID, they are rising. Um, Despite the fact that we are in the second year, so it does not seem to, this virus doesn't seem to be abating. And I hope that you all are doing fine now. We will try to get through this, or hope that we will get through this. Of course, those people who are responsible, whatever it is. I hope that you are all good. However, we will now continue after this break on Sunday, and we talked about hate. I think I probably need to explain this further because we said hate is not temporary. Hate grows through the time. Hate is something which does not happen abruptly, because then if you, for example, uh, see something disgusting, I don't know, like filth or whatever, then you will averse it. But hate goes beyond this. Hate is always some sort of a dislike of being, and hate, therefore, is nothing. We have shown it in social experiments, in object relations, that hate is something that lasts, that hate is something that goes beyond. But hate, of course, seems something extreme as well, because you do not hate at once. Something hate needs time to develop. And for this, or in another way, how we can come around this or further open up the analysis, we said we need some sort of a middle path between aversion. Aversion is the mere avoidance of something. This means I don't see an identity. This is what we discovered. This is very important, that we said that with hate, or with anything that goes beyond aversion, there is your identity involved, and this plays a crucial part, because it construes not only your identity as well as the other identity, and this is where we come. And hate is, in that sense, pretty much extreme, because you pretty much dislike the being, especially if you think that it is in a way morally harmful to you in any sense, whatever, especially if you think about sins. Sins or anything noxious. This is always your perception, as well as you need to have an understanding of what is good or right, in order to understand that it is harmful to you or not. So this goes beyond just pardon me. This goes beyond just your perception. This goes beyond just you perceive something. This is indeed a big issue in philosophy, as well as in psychology. And this means that in order to preserve yourself from, let's say, from any bad, and I would say rather morally bad, whatever, or especially ethically bad, you have to have an understanding of good and bad, or at least you have to have thought about it. If you read the Bible, or if you, whatever you do, if you get see what happens in the world, or if you have experienced a lot of disturbing things in the world, then you build up your mind. This goes over a period of time, and you some sort of use your brain cells to understand what's good, what's bad, that you come to this conclusion. For example, if you read the Bible, you have to think about it. You have to absorb it. If you read the Quran, the Torah, whatever it is, you have to think about it. What is good? What is bad? In order to come to a moral conclusion. So this needs more than just your instant choice. This is what we will talk about it later. So it goes beyond your moral judgments. This goes beyond what you think, well, this is personally true for yourself moral or ethical judgments. They always go beyond your being, beyond your existence. This is something you assume, you perceive that this is generally true. It's, for example, the good of something, the good of an idea, or whatever it is, the good of a situation, of a circumstance, of a being. This goes always beyond your existence. This is always and it goes beyond your choice, and you have to have thought about it. And this is why we have to apply this to hate as well, because hate is something, it may be a danger. We came to the conclusion, yeah, if I'm exposed to a situation, whatever, then of course I will avoid it, especially if I don't reckon with it. I mean, we live in the 21st century. We said we do not live in this dangerous societies anymore, but if you are, for example, you don't have to fear for your life anymore. However, but and in our time, especially with social media, you rather fear that you are being exposed, that you are being humiliated, whatever, and this fear, and this then leads to fear. And if you fear being exposed to such a situation, then you have to go on a planning. Then you will of course make arrangements, plans to avoid this situation for what reason, whatever, and therefore it is not instantly, and this is where we said that we derived assume. I mean, this is again, we assume this, we don't know, is we are still inquiring, we are still, as you want, asking questions. We do not know what hate really is, so we slowly approach it. And we said that there is a difference between a linguistic definition and a philosophic definition. And here right now we try to come closer to that, try to understand this, and therefore we said assumably, because if I fear something, I make long-term plans to avoid it, or I think about it longer. If I have moral principles, then hopefully I do not read them off my cereal package, but rather have thought about it. I mean, if you read the Bible, the Quran, Torah, whatever it is, then you have to think about it. These are meaningful words, no matter what people say or not say, as well as ethical. If you have witnessed a lot of issues in this world, and then you come to an ethical explanation, then of course you have to have thought about it. And so in order to make this understandable, so we will argue, that's why we argue that hate must be something longer lasting. You have to thought about it, because this is indeed a very strong feeling, that you do not dislike the being that you hate, the existence of something, that you do not like the existence of something, because you could just avoid it. I mean, like we said, a situation, but this is not. But what we need to inquire further in this issue is identity. What has to do with this? What does it have to do with identity? Because we somehow noticed this is some sort of still hazy, shady. How can we make a connection to identity, despite the fact that we saw it has to do with yourself? Because only think about the fact, if you are being exposed to an embarrassing situation, if you are being exposed to a situation, whatever, which may be more than harmful, and harmful in that sense. I mean, we should not think about this issue like I don't know, some teenagers who would be in a way feel embarrassed of being not liked, whatever. But especially in our time, where reputation plays a crucial part, and how you are being perceived. I mean, this can mean especially whether you get a job, whether you get any favorable promotion or whatever. So in that sense, some fear can be of course reasonable. Or if you, for example, fear that you may make a mistake, or that you fear that you act wrongly, or whatever, this can, and there are a lot of examples in history that this can then lead to you being inactive or doing whatever, doing nothing or doing the wrong thing, whatever. So fear is a very strong emotion. It can lead human brains to act out, in that way, no, not what is expected to. And therefore, we will some sort of introduce a new word to our thinking, where we try to figure out, hey, this is anger. Anger is something, again, I looked it up at Google. Anger is a strong feeling of displeasure and usually antagonism. I mean, the word antagonism is very important in this definition, because we again said that identity plays a crucial role. This is where we assume that then now here we see antagonism plays as well as a crucial part in anger towards something. And antagonism would then mean that it is me against them. And in order to feel anger in that sense, this is a definition from Merriam-Webster, so it's not Google, pardon me. This is a definition from of the website Merriam-Webster. However, and this means that anger comes with your knowledge that you are different in that sense, and this goes, I think, beyond the psychoanalysis, especially the psychoanalysis which partially, especially for analyzing children, or it goes beyond the perception of the hate, what probably according to the psychoanalysis children I can feel, because children, or babies for that matter, assumably do not have any separation between them and the object. They do not perceive themselves as different. However, in that sense here, anger is very important, because it comes with an antagonism. It feels displeasure, of course, but the important thing is that it is antagonism, that you separate yourself from the object, that this is part of your identity, and then you see this other object, as well as this other person, object, whatever it is, as something different to do, as well as something opposed to your belief, or whatever, to your world understanding, whatever. But what is important is that we right now do not have some sort of the hate of the existence, or that you dislike the existence of something, but this is rather really this pleasure of an antagonism, that there is this opposite figure. And then if we compare this to aversion, if we put these words together, aversion is, like we said before, is a tendency to extinguish a behavior, or to avoid a thing or a situation, usually pleasurable one, because it has been associated with a noxious stimulus. I mean, of course, here we would say aversion as well has this word history in it. So noxious behavior, we have to, or noxious stimuli here, we again see that it has something which we know of which we had thought about it. I mean, this can, as well as feeling of disgust, whatever it is. This is a feeling, which we had before, which we know before, and which does not strike us at once. This is very important, because it has a history, and as well as aversion is then a feeling of repugnance towards something, with the desire to avoid it or turn away from it. This is another definition, and here you have the main difference. I mean, you do not associate yourself with filth or whatever it is. I mean, of course, or with anything, you just turn away from it. You do some sort of disentangle yourself from it. This only becomes part of your identity if you, for example, I don't know, because you are a migrant, or if you're a black man, or if you're an African